Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe at home. So guys, today we are going to be talking about a very common succulent called as Sedeveria Hummelii. Now guys, of late I've come across a lot of posts on Instagram stating that they are having a hard time growing this succulent, and the main reason is stem rot. So in this video we'll be talking about what can be done best to grow these succulents and what is the kind of soil media that we need to grow these succulents in. So guys, before we start talking about the soil requirements, let's learn a little bit more about this particular succulent. Now as you know that this succulent is called Sedeveria Hummelii. It is an hybrid succulent and tends to go dormant during the summer season. Right now it's winter season, it's their growing period, hence you can see there are a lot of blooms on this succulent. Now guys, if you're wondering how I ended up with so many Hummelii, there is a story behind. I will let you know in a while. So what is Sedeveria? When you have a variety of sedum and variety of echeveria combined together is equal to Sedeveria. Now the X mark that you tend to see is a sign of hybrid. So the parentage includes sedum pachophyllum and echeveria derenbergii. When they are cross-pollinated, you get this beautiful hybrid called as Sedeveria Hummelii. So guys, now that we know a little bit about them, let's try and understand where the problem starts. Now here I have a pot full of Sedeveria Hummelii. Now a lot of people complain that their stem starts to turn black in color. Now guys, when your stem is gonna turn black and it's gonna be soft, that means that it is stem rot. Now this will usually happen when your soil is very compact and heavy, or if you have watered it too much, the succulent will start to rot from the stem and it will start going upwards. Now whatever leaves are on the way, they will turn transparent, they will turn yellow and start falling off. Now guys, in order to grow Sedeveria Hummelii, you need to have a very loose, porous and well draining soil. Like the soil you can see over here, with the slightest touch the soil moves. Now this is the kind of soil you need to use for growing Hummelii. Now guys, my stem is quite healthy. Also you can see there is a new pup that's just emerging. Also there is another growth that has been going successfully. So guys, just make sure you have the correct type of soil which we are going to talk about. So guys, in order to pot the Sedeveria Hummelii, I'm using a concrete pot. You can even use a unglazed clay pot or a terracotta pot. Ensure that the pot has a drain hole. Here I'm covering the drain hole with a piece of rock so that the soil does not slip through. Now guys, here I'm going to be using the grit that I was left from my previous potting mix. If you do not have it, it's absolutely fine. You can fill this pot completely with the potting mix that we are going to prepare. Now guys, here I'm going to be taking 4 parts of river sand or construction sand, and I'm going to take 1 part of garden soil. Now the reason why the ratio has so much of difference, because we want to make the soil very porous, very loose and well draining. Hence I'm just taking only 1 part of garden soil. Now guys, once we start mixing it, you'll realize that the consistency of the soil is going to be slightly more sandy, and that's absolutely fine. Ensure that once the soil has been mixed, you must be able to see more of sand and less of garden soil. So guys, here I have gone ahead and prepared the soil, so you can see the texture, how it is. It's very loose, it's very free flowing, doesn't look compact, doesn't look sticky and does not look heavy. Now this is the type of mix you need to prepare. Now once I have prepared that, I'm going to transfer it into the concrete pot. Now this is how it looks like. You can see it's still very loose, it's still very porous, and this is exactly the type of soil the Sedeveria Hummelii needs. Now here I have uprooted one of the Sedeveria Hummelii from my previous pot. You can see that soil is also very porous and loose, and you can see a lot of new roots. So I've gone ahead and repotted the succulent in this concrete pot. As usual, I will not water it for at least 2 to 3 days, and the succulent will not be exposed to direct sunlight as of now. I will let it acclimate for a couple of days and then move it to direct sunlight. Now there are some interesting facts about Sedeveria Hummelii. Now their appearances will be based on the amount of sunlight you provide them. Like the one over here, you can see this guy receives a full amount of morning sunlight. Hence you can see there is so much of difference between both the succulents. Now this guy over here receives a full amount of morning sunlight. Hence you can see the leaves are slightly compact. The leaves are slightly pointed. However, this guy does not look very compact and is much on the greener side. Now the reason why, because this guy receives a good amount of light, but it is kept under a green net, so it kind of gets a filtered sunlight and not direct sunlight. Hence you can see that there is so much of difference in both the succulents. So guys, the reason behind having so many Hummelii was by accident. Now initially I wanted to get Sedeveria Blue Elf, that is this one, but I always ended up getting Sedeveria Hummelii. Now guys, it is very difficult to differentiate both the succulents, especially during their growing season, because both of them look very identical. Now that's the reason why I ended up getting so many Hummelii, because Sedeveria Blue Elf is slightly uncommon compared to Sedeveria Hummelii, and every time when I wanted to book for an Sedeveria Blue Elf, I ended up getting Sedeveria Hummelii. So finally, the last time when I ordered, I happened to get hold of Sedeveria Blue Elf. So you can see how it can be easily mistaken, though they both are different varieties, but yet they have very similar design and pattern. So during the dormant period, that is during the summers, that is when you will be able to see the true colors of Sedeveria Blue Elf. So guys, about watering, be very careful when you're watering Sedeveria Hummelii. They are very sensitive to overwatering. If you have overwatered your Sedeveria Hummelii, it will start to have stem rot. Now guys, here my succulents were out in the rain. It rained so heavily in the night that it knocked off couple of leaves. Now because the leaves fell apart and there were open wounds, the rainwater happened to come in contact with the cuts, and you can see the stem has started to rot. Now this is why I always tell people, do not water your succulents when you have pulled out the leaves. Even when your succulent soil is very compact, especially for this succulent, when the soil is compact and heavy, this is exactly how the stem rot starts. Now guys, here my succulent is completely destroyed. I'm not sure if I will be able to save this succulent because the water has already entered into the stem and the rot has already started. So guys, when you're growing Sedeveria Hummelii, ensure that you will only water your soil when the soil is completely dry. I would also advise you guys not to use coco peat for your Sedeveria Hummelii. If you're making a potting mix for Sedeveria Hummelii, please do not use coco peat because it retains moisture and that will harm your plant. So now talking about propagation, Sedeveria Hummelii can be easily propagated by leaves, but I would always suggest you to go with beheading method or by separating the pups, because this method is going to be much faster compared to the leaf propagation. Now guys, whenever you separate the pups, do not put them out in direct sunlight, otherwise you'll end up with very dehydrated pups like the one in this video. Now I accidentally left this out in full direct sunlight, hence it dehydrated a lot, but luckily the pup started to root, so that was a good news. Now what I have done is I've gone ahead and put this pup in indirect sunlight spot wherein it receives bright light but not direct sunlight. So you'll be able to see how much of transformation this particular pup has done. So this is how it looks when it is dehydrated, and now when it is placed in a spot where it receives indirect sunlight, it gives it more chance to develop the roots. So guys, you can see how much of difference the sunlight has done to the succulent. It looks much better right now. The dehydration is gone off, the succulent looks much fuller, and you can also see there is a lot of new growth on the crown area. So guys, I hope that you have learned a lot about Sedeveria Hummelii today, and I'm sure after this you will be able to take care of your succulent much better. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful. If it was, please consider subscribing to my channel. Until then, take care, stay safe, bye bye.